All right, it's Saturday morning, coming back to you right here. We got our coffee in hand, and we got a table full of some really cool stuff. We're going to get this primer tray out of the way. Yeah, we got the lightweight commander and all that kind of stuff. So we'll get to talking about that in just a moment. We're going to read your comments here. Let's go ahead and roll through some of these comments. I do appreciate everybody that tuned in for the um, celebrating the channel for 11 years. Hard to believe. I was looking back at some of the stuff that we did like way in the beginning, and it's like, wow, some of that stuff is like uh, quite different. All right, swig of coffee. All right. First comment up here in no particular order again, and hopefully, again, if your comment wasn't read, yeah, moderators could have pulled it, or it just, for some reason, maybe commented after a production of the show or something like that, or it's just completely unnecessary. Not gonna lie, we've had a few of those. I'm not even gonna address them. All right, Bohemian Hunting Club 11 and still rocking. Thank you. Good deal. Love the look on that on the 80. All looking good, and we do have the Series 80 Colt out here. I know the minute you say a Series 80, some people, ooh, it's mostly just the firing pin system in it that makes it the Series 80. But actually, we're going to talk about that. I brought out my Springfield. All right, and then Jeffrey Richardson says, happy birthday. Happy birthday to the channel is what we're talking about, turning 11 years old. This one here is from Taco 4296. Glad you have been going so long. Have always enjoyed your videos and keep it going. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Joe P, there's Joe. 11 years is awesome. Where in the heck did the time go? Thanks so much for still being here every Saturday. You're welcome, Joe. Yeah, where did the time go? I always wondered that myself. Even looking back and all my friends from the island and everything like that, it's like a lot of people have passed away. Yeah, it was definitely a really fun trip. I'm glad that the channel, that's where it started. I really am. It wouldn't have, it just, to me, it wouldn't have made sense to do anything, if I would have started somewhere else, I don't know if I would have done it. I really don't. I think the island had played a big part in doing the videos and all that, just the continuation of doing a bunch of random stuff constantly. So the island played a big part of that. Slim Fire, there's my man Slim. Morning, JW. Hope you're doing well, and I hope you had a great 4th. Yes, stayed inside, stayed safe, away from the noise, and some sort of adolescence that can happen outside there, and the mix of it all. I don't know. Maybe it's just the not wanting to, just I guess getting older and just being like more happier, just sitting on the couch and watching some movies and whatnot instead of being out there and all that. Ballistol is my go-to lubricant also. It has many uses for a lot of things. It does, yes. It actually says on it, it's really good stuff. Firearms, leather, knives, tools, locks, marine, wood, metal, rubber. Yeah, I mean, I usually use pieces of wood for my, including the work area for a lot of stuff, and it is soaked in Ballistol. And I tell you, the wood likes it. That's for sure. All right, and so the 45 ACP is my favorite also. I love going to the range with it. Great video today, and thank you, Slim. That's awesome. Yes. I too love the 45. I used to shoot a ton of it. I have dropped down to basically the 9mm, as most people know, because mainly it's easier on the recoil. I've got wrist issues going on. I spend a lot of years playing drums and stuff, so my wrists are not exactly the in the best shape either. But 9 is mostly the majority of the reason why I do like the 9 is it is smoother to shoot, but it is cheaper to shoot, cheaper to hand load, and easier to kind of get a decent light load or kind of play with the load factors on it. And so that is the reason why I chose to kind of head that way. And plus, shooting this thing, that's my favorite right there of all time, the Springfield Armory Ronin in 9mm Commander size. It just rocks, man. I got to get it fixed, and we'll talk about that. So the next one here is from D Life, and I believe that is my buddy over there in California, and he's happy fourth or happy 11th year, my man. Thank you, appreciate that. Kalishny says grips. Colt, please make more. I've talked about the reason why we won't and don't on those. And I did recommend not to blow anybody off or anything, but vintagegrips.com, they do offer those Colt wood grips that people are asking about. They do have them there. You just got to scroll through their stuff. You can pick different colors. You can do the black, brown, orange, brown. So this one here is from James. Good morning, JW. Cool video about 1911s. I'm looking to get my first one. Also, do you think Colt will produce the single action army again in mass production? I don't think so. As much as I like Colt is so behind in the game on a lot of things. A lot of other companies have progressed forward. Colt did not. But then again, I can't knock them too hard because they did do the one I think is one of the best moves they could have done, which is bring back the Python. And they brought back all the other ones too, the Cobra, the Anaconda. The Anaconda is, even though I have no desires to own one, they brought that back and it is better than ever. That thing is, the new one is by far superior in every way to the old one, and that is without a question. There is no question about that. I'm not sure how many people even handled one of the original Anacondas, but they were atrocious. They were bad. And so the new one is definitely by far better, and now they're offering it 45 long Colt in caliber out there now, aside from the 44 Magnum. A buddy of mine really wants one of those. And I'm a big fan of the regular, the new Python. I really am. That has been my go-to shooting revolver when I shoot revolvers and stuff. And so that has been my go-to now. And that is the reason why. Another reason I kind of got rid of a lot of the other revolvers and just kind of stuck with that one, because that became my go-to, and that's a 6-inch that I have. All right. But yeah, I don't know if the single action army will ever become in like a more available quantity. Personally, those are very expensive from them. What are they, like $2,500 or something like that? Or and it also, and even if it's a newer one, it does seem to be like a unicorn out there. It's like, when do you ever see one in the wild? You don't. It just they haven't been available. And I fell into, like, as we all change throughout our journey throughout this stuff, and I've kind of hit the tail end of my journey because I've kind of already experienced or handled many of the things over the time that I'm satisfied with what I handled and everything. I'm a little bit kind of an old soul because I don't really, a lot of the super modern stuff is just not appealing to me. I do like my old stuff. I mean, I like the 1911. Don't get me wrong, but it's a range gun for me. It's something that I take to the range and enjoy doing that kind of a thing. And I enjoy the history of it. I enjoy Colt as the history of their name. Do I think they make the best? Absolutely not. I think we've talked about that. It's it's a production gun, but that bears their name. So yeah, they're going to tack on an extra little bit of money on that. Well, some cases a lot more money because of the name. But yeah, the far as the single actions go, like I'm actually more happy with the Italian copies, the Ubertis or the Pietas. I will be, more inclined to buy one of those for $600 or $700. I don't know, whatever they are now. They used to be about $500, but as everything goes, it goes up. Um, but I don't have a desire to, as much as I like Colt, I don't have a desire to spend $3,000 on a single action from them. That's just me. I wish they were more available. Yeah, I do. I wish Colt would come down on their prices and offer things like their, why is the majority of their 1911s $1,200, $1,300? They should try to keep in that market of the seven, at least the seven. I mean, come on, that's where mine originally was, but now it's shot up a little bit. And so, and back to that, like last week's discussion, I can kind of understand a little bit of the, critique to that. Like I said, you got to know what you're going to expect. What are you expecting out of it? If you're expecting something that's like extremely finely tuned and all that, definitely you're not going to be finding it in, one of the, in that realm of things, be it Colt or somebody else. Um, and all right, so anyway, yeah, I don't know. They, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say I would never buy a Colt single action, a true Colt single action, if the price was right, maybe. But at this point, where I'm at in life and with everything, I've hardly any desire to buy much of anything. I'm kind of at a point where I'm going to play with what I have left that I didn't sell off or trade off, and just kind of keep it at that, and just kind of spend, if I do spend any extra money, I'll spend on just trying to keep those things running, and enjoying them at the range. So this one here is from Sean Lee. Morning, y'all. My regrets are the opposite of most. I don't sell any of mine because I don't want to regret it later on. Instead, I've regretted not picking up when I had the chance, now years later, being priced out because of how expensive it's become. Moral of the story is don't wait too long or it could get too expensive. Yes, that is a very, very good point. The way it was kind of told to me was, if you're after something, you got to jump on that train at some point, because if you don't, it is going to keep going. It's going to keep going down the track, and it's going to get too far away. I myself am definitely in that boat where they've gotten too expensive. Plain and simple. I think that a lot of things are just priced way out, beyond what I think anybody is going to be able to afford. Um, it does kind of make me wonder how some of these companies that are, they're not going to say any kind of real names here, but when their products, the majority of all their products are like pretty much $3,000 and up, per item. Um, Man, I tell you, I don't know. I guess, is there that many millionaires that can just buy that stuff, like we go to a junk food store or something? Because it certainly isn't me. Um, but there is stuff out there. I'm look at me. I'm just as happy with a Springfield Armor Ronin. I brought out the Glock 17 because it's kind of this is kind of my this is my go-to. This is my catch-all 9mm. Really, I know it runs, and it's inexpensive, and it runs reliably, and no matter what, it'll always feed and always go bang. Not the prettiest thing, although for me, being a movie buff, kind of a movie fanatic, it's featured in a lot of films, a lot of you know different types of media, so it definitely has that place for me. But you know, we'll get to the little 3 count here of the 9s that are left in my collection. And if I was going to, you know, choose one, what would it be? So, all right. This one here is from Mickey Mantle. Awesome stuff. Oh man, I love the caps lock. Bad check JW. Happy 11th. Happy 4th to all. Caps on for easy read. Yes, awesome. This channel where caps are appreciated, not an offense. Yes, absolutely. Hope everybody's safe and sound. Hard to believe half a year is gone. Yeah, half of it's gone already. Well, I mean, it's like gone already. It's like, wow, you know, I mean, the years just fly on by, man. I tell you, the older you get, there is no joke about that. The older you get, man, I tell you, the years just fly by. All of a sudden, it's your birthday again, and you're like going, geez, your birthday starts to become a dread because you realize you're just another year older. Unfortunately, grips definitely make the pistol. Nothing new on the home front, unfortunately. And grips definitely make the pistol. Looks and shooting pleasure, blessing friends. Yes, and that's from Mickey out there. So, all right, we've got through the, you know, that's everybody that has commented and everything. We're going to go ahead and shut that down. But kind of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit here. I brought out the 9s that are kind of left hanging around for me. We got the Colt 80 series Commander model, 9mm, lightweight frame, the Glock 17, and the Springfield Armory Ronin, which I actually got to get fixed here because the spring in this one, I switched it out. I had to switch out. I was playing around with it a little bit, and I switched it out. But I'm gonna take this. It broke actually. I know people are like, "What the heck?" It broke. The ejector broke. The ejector. Yeah, I'm gonna get this rag and wipe it down because it's a little dirty. But the ejector did break on it. I got to remove it here. I got to drive the pin out there. In fact, it might be able to be popped right out here. Can I slip this under there? I might be able to. Yeah. Okay. There it comes. All right. I know some people are like freaking out but yeah, the ejector post on the front snapped off. Always a good thing I should have learned the lesson from years ago because I did bust the nose off of one, a different one, off of a Colt 9mm that I used to own. That one I broke the nose off. On the 9mm ejector, they're extended out, and I broke the nose off of one of them. And this here again, you know, this is just, you know, these are always remember to that one thing is when you go cheaper on 1911s, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Cheap is what I can afford. And I'm definitely right there in the boat with everybody on that. Cheap is what I can afford. So definitely not knocking that in any way. But when you kind of run into the cheaper ones in a sense, really where the cost saving measures a lot of times, like this Springfield is solid. The slide, the meat and potatoes of this stew is solid. The meat, potatoes, they're all there. The slide, frame, and barrel. The parts, however, is where things kind of get a little choppy. Now on mine specifically, I have changed out some parts. I do. This one's just a preference. I did change out the thumb safety to a Colt teardrop style safety, which it's a little bit. I like it because it's lower profile. That's the reason I did it mostly because I don't like the big oversized gas pedal style. That's just my preference. I did change out the hammer to a Wilson Combat tool steel and everything, but I did leave the grip safety alone, the grip safety, because I just didn't want to bother with fitting anything, and it's not really that important. To keep it really lightweight, I did change out the mainspring housing to a polymer one just to keep the lightweightness of the gun. and everything. So now in this case, what had happened was, and I should have learned my lesson, and this is something I should be doing with my blasters for the range uses, replacing these ejectors with really good ones, like what Wilson Combat does make, in that aspect. They're they're ones that are made out of like billet steel or whatever. These are probably not the greatest, steel. Like I said, the cost saving measures got to come somewhere. So I've shot this a bunch. Who knows when this actually sheared off? But the post that is supposed to be attached to this thing is now left in the frame. I got to take this to a buddy of mine that works on mostly like small. He's actually a jeweler, and so I'm going to ask him what his questions are or his ideas are on how to remove this right here, because we got to drive this small pin out and then remove the remaining stump that's left in there. Hopefully it can come out and get that taken care of, because yeah, this sucks, because this is actually my favorite one to use, and it has gone down now. So I gotta get that repaired. So anyway, as you can see, this Springfield, it's one of my favorites, and it did break on me. So it happens to everything. It doesn't matter what it is. So if I had to basically, if it was just, boil down to just going to have one 9mm blaster no matter what, and range and defense and all that, yeah, I would pick the 17. I know, as old school as I am, but I do realize that this thing is just a trucker. It just tanks and it keeps going, and the parts are easy. And I have yet to see anything ever fail or break on any of the ones that I've owned and run. So the Colt, back to this one, the Colt, as cool as it is, and as much as I like the Colt and everything, I would still take the Springfield Armory over the Colt, because this thing is definitely solid and really hasn't really given me any problems except for this for the whole time I've owned it. I am going to be totally transparent with you. This thing jams like you wouldn't believe. It has been definitely proven to be very unreliable. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it doesn't have a ramped barrel. And that is meaning that if you with these, if you're going to have a 9mm 1911, you want a ramped barrel. Basically, the ramp is built into the barrel. That is like the Browning high power design. That's what you want. The Colt did not catch on to that. However, all the other companies did. In fact, even I believe even like the T-Sauce and stuff, they have ramp barrels. They caught it. They know that. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to express this, because I didn't want to feel like I was like, hiding behind the bias of a loving Colt. I do love them. I'm a fanboy, but I am not afraid to call out their flaws and say that, they don't make the best out there by far. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed today's video and this week's episode. Just, like I said, it's about being kind of honest out there and throwing things out there that, has recently gone down and experienced within the last time we had the show and everything. So did a lot of work to that one recently, just to kind of, see if it'll run better. And it did start running a little bit better, but it's been a long time. It's, definitely been, because this one pretty much is the go-to for 1911 range stuff right here. This would be this one. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for hanging out.